Last night, ABC News senior national correspondent Terry Moran was at the White House for a wide-ranging interview with you-know-who that covered the biggest issues of his first 100 days in office, like tariffs, his administration picks, and the accidental deportation of Kilmar Abrego Garcia to El Salvador. El Salvador. My lips are failing me. Watch and see this clip.
He had MS-13 on his knuckles tattooed.
Oh, he had some tattoos that are interpreted that way. But let's move on.
Wait a minute. Hey, Terry.
He did not have the letter MS-13.
It says MS-13.
That was Photoshopped. So let me
That was Photoshopped. Terry, you can't do that. Hey, they're giving you the big break of a lifetime. You know, you're doing the interview. I picked you because, frankly, I never heard of you, but that's okay. But I picked you, Terry, but you're not being very nice. He had MS-13 tattooed.
Right. We'll agree to disagree. I want to move on to something else.
Terry, do you want me to show you the picture?
I saw the picture. We'll
and you think it
agree
was
to disagree.
Photoshopped? Well,
Here we go.
Don't Photoshop it. Go look at his hand. He had MS-13.
He did have tattoos that can be interpreted that way. I'm not an expert on them.
To echo what Terry said, that image of a tattoo reading MS-13 was photoshopped.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
They
Obviously photoshopped.
And it's done, it's quite obviously photoshopped. Yeah. And so...
It's not even done well.
No.
Yeah, no.
But, you know, we don't want to cause any issues, but what was your takeaway from this?
He doesn't even recognize his own fake images at this point. But, you know, here's what I'd say. I watched the whole thing.
Did you?
And I'm really starting to feel sorry for him. He's over his head. The simplest questions he cannot answer. He knows that only immigration is maybe where he's been somewhat successful. It's like, and then he turns on Terry Moran when he asks, "How dare you ask me a question I can't answer?" I mean, the guy, the guy is over his head, and he knows it. I feel bad for him now. Or as he would say, I feel badly.
I didn't feel badly for him. I didn't.
But that's the correct way.
I feel badly for us. I feel badly for us, for our country, because, you know, as an attorney, I always believed in the rule of law, and we've always said that this is a constitutional democracy, and we are a country of laws, especially the Republican Party, and especially this president. And when you talk about Abrego Garcia, basically here, legally, being taken and deported to El Salvador, and then you have a federal judge in Maryland that says, bring him back, facilitate his return. It goes to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court then says, facilitate his return.
Yeah.
Then you have President Trump during this interview saying
the lawyers.
I'm not going to bring him back.
No.
I can, but I'm not going to. So when we talk about, lawyers talk about a constitutional crisis, ladies and gentlemen, we are here.
That's right.
We are in this constitutional crisis when you have the President of the United States on ABC News national interview saying, I am not going to do what the Supreme Court, another branch, a co-equal branch, told me to do.
Well,
I am terrified.
The constitutional part is the due process, too.
There's no due process. He was shipped. But there's also a judge's order that he's saying, my administration will not follow it. What do you do with that?
I thought that Terry Moran did a very good job.
Great.
And these are not easy interviews to do. And what stood out to me was two things. This MS-13 bit, because it seemed very clear to me, knowing Donald Trump, that he was not briefed that that is not a real image and that it was photoshopped. And that is a huge failure of his staff. If they are not before these interviews saying, sir, you should not reference that. This is not true. And it speaks to sort of a timidity of people not wanting to speak truth to him because they're fearful they may lose their jobs. But also, when it got into this issue of immigration, Donald Trump won on it in 2016 and in 2024, and for the first time, he's underwater. He's only got 45% on it. And it's because he's focusing on deporting people without due process under law. What makes America the greatest nation on earth is you get that due process. Donald Trump, of all people, should be glad that you're innocent until proven guilty.
They give it to him.
That system benefited him. But he did,
except that he was found guilty.
But he got the process. But he got the process. But finally, he said one thing that is a glowing success for him, yet it's not what the White House is talking about. He's effectively ended the border crisis in 100 days in office, but he's not talking about that. Instead, they're making these frankly, really like horrible videos of people locked up and in chains being dragged and deported without due process.
That little kid I
talk
mentioned
about-
yesterday, that 4-year-old boy who had stage 4 cancer,
Talk
and they
about what
sent him
people elected
back
you
with
on.
his mother to Honduras without his medication. That's just cruel
And also,
politics.
you know, one of the things that are, I'm sorry, you go ahead.
No, it's actually kind of similar to what Alyssa was saying. I came at this interview through a different lens. I know what I think and why I didn't vote for him, but I was curious why, although his numbers are slipping, there are some people, and I'm sure we all know some of them or work with them or, you know, are neighbors with some who really believe he's doing a good job. And it all came down to, it really did come down to immigration, but at the border. It wasn't the deportations. And I think the problem is if he'd get out of his own way and leave the cruelty and the inhumanity of what he's doing with these deportations and focusing on the numbers are 93% down. It's the lowest in history. If he just focused on that and fixed his process, I actually think he'd garner more support on that one issue.
Yeah, but he does so many other things wrong.
Well, I know, but the fact that it's right there.
Dismantling the
that's
Department of
one thing.
Education.
Well,
That's the one thing they still support.
you know, all of the mistakes that they've been making, going into people's houses, going into the wrong house,
Churches,
deporting children
communities.
without their parents.
Or medicine.
There's a little baby she's 2, and she's now in foster care because they took her mom and dad. I mean,
evil.
it just, listen, everybody wants a fair shot to come to this country, or used to. This used to be the really, we knew we had problems, but we were doing better than anybody else.
It's true.
The embarrassment of America right now is that we are no longer the country of due process. We are no longer the
great
country
constitutional
that,
democracy.
No, you know, we're just not. We're in some kind of Twilight Zone thing. And, you know, again, it's going to be up to us. It's really, there's politicians and then there's us. And you have every right to vote the people who are not taking care of our democracy out of office.